Okay, we are live. All right, good evening all, and thank you for joining us. I know I speak for all the counselors in the department that we hope everyone had a great first week of school. We have a jam-packed evening for you. But before we dive in, I wanted to allow for Dr. Ray Laverso, our new high school principal, to introduce himself. Ray's been with us since July, and it's been great working with him for the past 2 months. He's been absolutely blown away by the caliber of our programs and services throughout the district. And I know he very much looks forward to continuing to bring innovative ideas to the high school in an effort to support students and faculty for years to come. So with that, Ray, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Good evening, everybody. What Aaron didn't say is that I'm also really blown away by our director of guidance, our guidance counselors, and our school psychologist. So you're all in very, very good hands this evening. A lot of thought goes into these programs, and I'm excited for what's ahead. So welcome, and it's nice to see everybody.
Hi. Awesome. Thanks, Ray. So we are really hitting the ground sprinting here in the counseling office. Yesterday and today, we visited senior English classes to walk students through sort of like the back end of the Common Application and their Maya Learning accounts to make sure everybody is connected and on the same page and ready to go. So for tonight, we are going to highlight the nuts and bolts of the process and how to prepare and when you need to submit what. As Ray mentioned, Lauren Keschner, our high school psychologist, is also on the call. She is going to share some strategies in an effort to help you all at least try to remain calm through this college application storm. Which we definitely can't promise you, but I can promise you that between myself, your counselor, and Lauren, and Ray for that matter, we're here to support you every step of the way. To that end, over the past few years, we've introduced some new software and programming, some programming actually that Dr. Levy is going to share momentarily to help students build their college list and support their efforts writing their essay and supplemental essays. Additionally, thanks to the school board's support a few years ago, we were able to restructure the department, which has allowed the counselors that are on the call to work with students in grades 10 through 12. And as a byproduct of that, have that much more time dedicated to advising members of the senior class. So with that, I am going to share my screen. Buttons. Just give me 1 second here. Sorry. And I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Levy to. Oof. Okay, everybody can see that. Deanna, I see you. Yep. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
All right, Alyssa, why don't you tell everybody about our new initiative this year?
Perfect. Good to see everyone's names in a list. And I hope you all had a wonderful summer. So this year, a major change. We were so fortunate to be able to offer a few different opportunities outside of the guidance office in terms of support for essay writing. So right before the start of the school year, we were able to have the college essay guide team come in to Bronxville, and they did a workshop with our students for 2 days. We had approximately 60 students take part, and it was an amazing workshop. The feedback was really exciting. So we want to thank the foundation for supporting this grant. So without that, it obviously wouldn't have been possible. And for those of you who weren't able to attend that workshop, or for those of you who were and just want to build upon your essay writing a little bit more, we're so excited to announce an amazing opportunity for seniors this fall. This is the first year we're doing this. So our 2 senior English teachers, Ms. Dio and Ms. Kaminsky, are running a non-credit bearing mini elective, which is really geared towards helping students with their Common App essay as well as their supplements. So it's running for 8 weeks. The first half is going to be the Common App essay, and then the second half is going to be supplements. And sort of philosophically, that's because towards the end of the first semester, students will have a little bit more of a finalized list. So the elective starts the 17th. So be sure to sign up using our very fancy QR code. And Mr. Kine, by the end of this week, is going to reach out for those who sign up with the logistics in terms of, you know, what room to go to, timing, all of that stuff. Next.
Just a really quick thing. Someone in the chat said the QR code takes us to a page that you need permission. So I don't know if we can fix
No,
that. tonight
yeah.
or-
So that is because the students should be signing up for that and not the parents. So you
Okay,
need a Bronxville school email address to sign up for the mini elective because it's happening here during the school day. And just as a note, I've sent it out to the students already, and I'll send it out again tomorrow. I'll just like include a form in case you're watching this on recording and need to share with your student to get them to sign up. So there'll be more opportunities to sign up leading up to Tuesday, but that's why the form is giving you those permission settings.
Good question. Awesome. So next, just to briefly touch upon student and counselor responsibility. So your counselor is going to guide you through much of the admissions process. We're here to answer any questions you may have this school year. We review your Common App with you. We read any supplemental essays. We're really a sounding board on all aspects of the process. We're a team for sure. However, there are things that you guys need to do sort of separate from us and separate from our office. So just want to highlight those quickly. Starting with student responsibilities, the first action item is sending test scores. So the ACT and College Board are totally separate from the Bronxville Counseling Office. Only you have the ability to send your scores through your testing accounts. So be sure if you're planning to apply to colleges and sending your scores that you do so through ACT or through College Board. Next, in the coming week, you're going to receive, or next couple of weeks, you're going to receive a Google form asking you to review and approve your transcript to be uploaded. So once you do this, it basically signals to your counselor that you approve what's on it and it's ready to be sent to schools. In addition to your transcript, your counselor sends all accompanying documents such as the school profile, letters of recommendation. It's really important that we can only submit your teacher recommendation letters if you request your teachers through Maya. So in our English classes this week, you know, we reviewed that with you guys. If you have any questions of how to request your teachers in Maya Learning, just let us know. Also, you just have to tell us when you're submitting. Otherwise, we wouldn't know otherwise to upload and submit all documents unless you let us know of your deadlines. At the end of this presentation, we're going to talk about key dates and next steps that will outline when you should notify us on your application deadlines. But just keep us in the loop for sure. We also sign an early decision agreement. Again, only upon being notified by the student that you're applying to that school early. So as you see, much of this is dependent on the student notifying the counselor. Without you guys really being organized and in communication with us, there may be some gaps in information. On the flip side, we as counselors, and I hope you guys are seeing this already, do everything we can to reach out to you to make sure that all of the information is up to date and is accurate. This goes back to sort of the idea of the team approach that I spoke about earlier. So we will chase you for that information, but we would rather not. So just stay on top of it, stay organized. Your counselors are here to help. And next, Ms. Cohen is going to talk about your transcript.
Hi, everyone. Great to see you. So in the past couple of days, as Mr. Kine alluded to, we have been in the English classes setting up our students on Maya Learning and linking the Maya Learning interface to the Common Application website. By doing this, we're now able to have the students' permission to transmit all school documents to the colleges that the students apply to. One important thing that the most important thing probably that we send is the high school transcript. Every college application requires the high school transcript. And that is why it's very important that all the students take a moment to really look at the transcripts and make sure it is accurate. We will upload all the transcripts in Maya in the next few days. We will send notice out to everyone to make sure you know when it is there. As you can see circled in the red on the bottom of the screen, there's something called the Maya Drive, and that is where it will appear as a PDF. It does not update in live time. So if you are making any changes to your course selections, that Maya Drive will not update with your changes. So on the note of changes, I just wanted to point out, and we all wanted to point out, that in the counseling office right now, we do have students coming in making schedule changes. We are still in the add drop period. The add drop period happens for all grades, but for seniors, it is really important to be mindful of the timeline of the add drop period and what you add and drop and what your college application deadlines are. Because many students have earlier application deadlines. It may be an October, even a few schools have October 15th early deadlines. And in those cases, you know, if you are in communication with your counselor, of course, we want to be sending your stuff with plenty of notice. But if you, you know, come in on September 28th, if you know, and you had sent everything out earlier, but you decide you want to drop a class, that transcript is already going to have been sent. So it's very important, if you're thinking of possibly dropping a class, to keep in communication with your counselor to let us know that we should not be sending any applications with course loads that may change, because we can contact the colleges and let them know your schedule has changed, but it is a much smoother and more seamless scenario if you tell us ahead of time of these changes and we are just simply sending an accurate transcript with an accurate senior course load. So keep an eye out in your email for our notice of when the transcripts are going to be uploaded on Maya Drive. And then from there, you will give your approval, and just make sure if there's anything, independent studies sometimes aren't on there, or classes you drop might still appear, or, you know, anything, all the fine tuning stuff that you know you went through in your educational experience, make sure that the transcript is accurate. Oh, signing up for college visits on Maya. Maya also, we have a great amount of representatives coming to Bronxville to talk to our students. If you look at the college visits on Maya from the student account, again, this is something the student's in charge of. They have the ability, this is one of their views, if you see that little 3 dots at the end of each row, when the school's coming, to sign up. The schedule is also found on the school website. So, you know, parents are able to view it. Parents can view it on Maya as well, but students are the ones that have to sign up. Students have to be strategic with what they sign up for. You know, sign up for the schools you're really interested in, or you might possibly want to learn more about. You do need to let your teachers know in advance. And if it seems like you're missing a whole lot of class time for these, be prepared for your teacher to say no. If there's a test that's really important, a teacher might say no. So it's really important to do this ahead of time with a lot of advance notice. Keep your calendar organized, stay on top of this. And these college admissions visitors can be really valuable and helpful in your research process.
Hey everyone, it's Miss H, aka Deanna Huffen-Jackai. Nice to see you. So we posted a little earlier today on Google Classroom a couple of trackers that you can use, speaking of being organized. So this one is just an example of a list that you could keep, a Google Sheet, Excel, whatever you want to use, with the list of colleges as well as deadlines. It's very important to be on top of your deadlines. A lot of colleges have different deadlines, so it's important to kind of prioritize based on what deadline is coming up first and working your way around that. Additionally, the college essay guide, the people who came to Bronxville earlier this year over the summer, they have an awesome spreadsheet tracker that I also posted on Google Classroom that helps you be organized with your supplemental essays, because many of the colleges want you to write a separate essay, hence why we're offering the quarter elective, which will be really beneficial. They're all different types of essays and all different deadlines. So it's very important to also keep track of your supplemental essays to make sure, again, you're prioritizing the supplements that are due earlier. And with that, I believe Mr. Kine's going to talk about Maya Learning and College Kickstart.
Thanks, Deanna. The NCAA, there was a question in the chat. The NCAA Clearinghouse is the essentially, for college athletes. So if you are being recruited or you intend to participate in Division I or III sports in college, then you need to register for that site. And then upon graduation, we upload your transcript to the Clearinghouse. So a lot's been said about Maya Learning thus far. And for those of you with a good memory that can recall some of the emails from junior year spring, we talked a little bit about College Kickstart. So I wanted to just kind of further unpack some of the functionality of the two different pieces of software, because everybody is in a different place in terms of their college list and where they're at with how many schools they want to apply to. It's not uncommon for it to be September and for students to only have 5 schools on their list. At the same time, it's not necessarily uncommon for it to be September and for students to have, too many schools on their list. And these two soft platforms are going to serve different purposes. So I just wanted to highlight some of that because we've, just been throwing their names out, and I want to make sure that everybody understands some of the differences. So everybody has access to Maya Learning, parents and students. This is where you're going to go if you're still looking for schools based on bigger criteria. You could see under the university tab, there's a search function, and that's going to have schools located by region, by size, public, private. It's going to let you filter by selectivity. You're going to be able to browse by major. So if you're looking for schools in the Mid-Atlantic region that are offering engineering that have 5,000 or more students, this is where you're going to go to generate more ideas to find some colleges to add to your list. This software also has all of the historical data. So if you click on any given school, I believe the new tab is the analysis tab, which brings you to this fun scattergram that some of you with older children will be familiar with, which basically shows you on a scatter plot sort of where you fall in relation to students that have been accepted, denied, early action accepted, ED accepted, et cetera, and sort of shows you where you fall on this plot. It's a good reference point. It's clearly not the end all be all. Right in the screen in front of you, you see that green circle that surrounded by all those red circles. So clearly, this is just a reference point and doesn't need to be sort of I'm definitely getting in or I'm definitely not. But it gives you a good guidepost as to whether or not any given school is appropriate for you to apply to. This too on the same page will be followed by a little bit of a broader analysis. It's essentially the same information, just presented a little bit differently. I think this might be a little helpful to those of you that are looking for just averages, lowest accepted, highest accepted. You can kind of look at it year by year. So over in this top section here, you can change the parameters of the bookends of the years that you're looking at. So you can just go back the past 2 years, just look at last year, etc. And kind of give you a sense of, are my grades and test scores comparable to accepted students in the past? And this is, for 5,000 colleges that are in Maya Learning's database. So again, this is if you're looking for bigger criteria, size, location, programs. Then we have College Kickstart. This is software just by the designers that only has one username and password. That username is tied to your child's Bronxville school email address and was emailed to all of them, I'd say in May of their junior year. Many of the students became familiar with the software through our junior workshops. If you haven't seen your child's account, please ask them for their username and password. Students, if you haven't accessed your account, please reach out to your counselor or to myself to gain access to it. I think this software is pretty phenomenal, quite frankly. It's being used by almost all, or at least many of the private and boarding schools that you're familiar with. We are one of few public schools to be using it. And that really is a function of, one, the foundation support in the beginning. So thank you again to the foundation. And two, just to the value that I think it brings to all of you with the like interesting way in which it visualizes the data and allows you to sort of sift through it. So what that looks like. So to use Kickstart to its fullest, you need a full college list. I think it's 6 or 8 schools that you need to have on your list. So on the landing screen, you're going to enter your colleges onto that list, and it's going to run what they call, it runs a check, right? It grades your the overall balance of your college list. So you can see I've just like pulled out this grade for this random, demo student who has the following schools on their list. It aggregates them by reach or unlikely and target and safety. It gives you a grade. We sort of joke around with the students during junior workshop that for some of them, it's maybe the lowest grade they've ever received in high school. And then what it also does on this academics performance chart, it tells you why these schools are showing up in the different categories, right? So if your GPA and SAT score are in the bottom 25% of accepted students at Boston College, and the school is very selective, it's coming up as unlikely, right? And you can kind of go through the rest of the criteria on your own time, obviously, to see why it's telling you which schools are coming up under which categorization. And I think this is, obviously the counselors are capable of doing this, and we would give you very much of similar information. We're just like not with you at 11 o'clock at night or on a Saturday morning when you're taking some time to sort of refine some of these things. So you now have these tools and capabilities at your house or wherever you have a Wi-Fi connection. And it's been really super helpful to the past, I think, 2 graduating classes that have been able to use it in helping them build a balanced college list. We really want you to, this isn't about over applying, and in some cases, definitely not about under applying, but we want you to have a balanced list, because when these results come out, we want you to have as many acceptances as possible, right? It doesn't feel good to apply to 10, 15 or more schools and not get into the majority of them or most of them. And so, we can't necessarily control outcomes. We can most definitely advise you as to like what we think would be a good match, where we think you would have a good chance of getting into, but like the outcomes are beyond everybody's control. I'm just gonna pause for a second to go to, yes, thank you, Deanna. The other reason I really like this software is after putting your list into College Kickstart and getting your grade, it specifically directs you to schools that fall under the categories of this is a target school, this is a likely school, right? I think a common statement from a student sitting across my desk is, I need to find more target schools, I need to find more likely schools, right? And so, and with the help of your counselor, we sort of like comb through some information and we make some suggestions, and we're forever going to be happy to do that. This software also allows you to do that. And again, it allows you to kind of do that on your own time or in your own time. And ultimately, we want balance, right? You want to have the most schools being likely or safe and target on your list. You want to think of this as like a wellness-based approach to college applications. If you apply to too many colleges, it's possible that you can get not good results at too many colleges, and it's not good for anybody. It's not good for the student, and it's not good for the parents on the call. We would, obviously there's nobody who would love it more than if everybody applied to one school and they all got in. Unfortunately, that's obviously not the reality, but we want to help you make a balanced list, and we want you to think about, is this additional application in late December going to make me feel better about my college list, or am I just throwing things against the wall at this point because there's no application fee or there's no supplemental essays? Because the schools that offer those types of applications are getting lots of applications, right? And so we saw that. We've been seeing that for the past few years at a lot of common names, that students just applying just like in bunches, in packs of 20, 30 applications. And everybody likes the school, and it's a really good school. But if, in a graduating class of 130 students, there's 30 students applying, you can imagine what those numbers are at just the surrounding schools and schools throughout the tri-state area, and obviously throughout the country. These colleges are getting lots and lots of applications. And they just can't accept everybody as much as they maybe would like to. So think about balance, think about wellness. And I think maybe with that, Lauren, that's a good cue for you to jump in.
Yes, that's a good transition to me. Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren Keschner, and I am the high school psychologist here at Bronxville. It's nice to see all of you virtually tonight. I am here to review some slides that will hopefully give you all some little strategies about how to help manage and balance all of the different emotions that come along with the college application process. So as we all know, including your counselors, applying to college is a really exciting time. It's a time to think about your future and your future goals. Once you're at college, you'll really get to focus and study on areas that you're interested in. You'll get to meet new people, and you'll also get to become involved on campus. So there's clearly a lot of excitement that goes along with applying to college. And it's important to acknowledge that the process can create some more negative feelings, right? Such as stress, anxiety, and/or disappointment. So I'm going to talk about, again, some little strategies that you can do and implement and think about to hopefully help you manage any stress that may come these next couple of months. So when applying to colleges, it's important to manage our expectations. So though we all have no doubt that you all will get a lot of acceptances, it is very likely that some applications won't end with an acceptance. So although rejection is never easy to face for anyone, right, for us as well, it is important to come to terms that rejection is a possibility, and it's a typical part of the process for every single applicant. Acknowledging and accepting all parts of the process before you apply can help you feel more emotionally prepared for all of the potential outcomes. Throughout the application process, it's also important to maintain balance. So although applications are very time consuming and another task to complete, it's important to not sacrifice doing the activities you enjoy. It will be easier to manage your emotions when you have a well-balanced day. It's also important that you have outlets to manage your stress and ways to distract yourself from the process if needed, whether that's playing a sport, continuing in your club, or socializing with friends. Similarly, taking care of your physical health helps to maintain your emotional health. So try your best, right, not to sacrifice your sleep. Try your best to maintain a balanced diet and participate in exercise. That also helps to reduce stress. Utilizing your support network is so important. If you're having a lot of negative emotions, definitely speak to someone you trust, right? That could be a friend, it could be a parent, teachers, coaches, any one of us on the call. There are resources here in the building. You all have your direct counselor. I'm always here as well, so you can always email me or stop by in the school building if you want to talk through anything that you're going through. So to reiterate, it is natural and okay to be stressed, worried, and feel like the process is all consuming right now. Remember that this stress is temporary. It's important to allow yourself to acknowledge your feelings and use self-validation and self-encouragement throughout the process. So, for example, it can be helpful to reframe your thinking to this is hard and I know I can do it. Another example is I feel disappointed with this result and there will be other opportunities for me to pursue. So by focusing on what we can control, right, such as your thoughts, such as your expectations of the college process, as well as your daily routine and your physical health, all of these together can help you manage some of the increase in stress that you may have during this time. And as I said before, if you need anything or feel like you need any extra support, please ask any one of us on the call. And we're looking forward to helping you have a great senior year ahead. Thank you.
So it's really important to make sure you're meeting with your counselor. I know luckily a bunch of my students have already started reaching out to me and sharing with me some ideas about their list. Please make an appointment with your counselor, especially if you were applying early decision or early action. So we have a couple of important internal deadlines for you to let us know when you're applying so we can keep track and make sure we're prioritizing your letter of recommendation as well as making sure your documents are ready to go. There are a couple of colleges that have really early deadlines of October 15th. Some examples: Clemson Early Action, University of Georgia, and UNC Chapel Hill are all October 15th. So if you were applying early action to any of those schools, let your counselor know like tomorrow. So the latest September 30th, keep us in the loop because it is an earlier deadline than the typical early deadline. By October 11th, we want to hear from students, obviously, hopefully earlier, if you were applying early action or early decision to any college, especially early decision, because as Dr. Levy mentioned earlier, we signed the ED agreement as the counselor as well. So we need to know this in advance. Just to reiterate, because I get a lot of questions about this, early decision is a non-binding, it's a binding, sorry. It's a binding decision. So you can only apply to one school early decision. And then for early action, you can typically apply to as many as you want. There is something called restrictive early action. So if you're in that situation, please let your counselor know. There's different rules for that. Lastly, by October 30th, there are some early decision and early action deadlines with the November 15th. So if you are one of those students in that boat, please let us know. We want to make sure we get your materials on in time. And I guess close to that would be if you're applying to University of California, that's a November 30th deadline. So make sure you're getting back to us about that earlier rather than later. It's a separate application. It's not on the Common App. We're here to help you with that as well. And then moving forward, we'll discuss regular decision as well, which tends to be in January. So then we just have a couple of next steps kind of summarized as a result of this presentation and some kind of action steps to take as a result of this call. If you need help with your supplemental essays and/or your Common App essay, please register for the mini elective that we introduced earlier in the slides. The QR code has been sent out. It'll be sent out again. We really encourage you to take advantage of this opportunity. When the transcripts are ready for viewing, you're going to review the transcript, you and your child, make sure it's accurate. If there's any inaccuracies, reach out to us ASAP so we can have that corrected. So we have your correct transcript that we're going to send to colleges. In the workshops we did today and yesterday, we had students link the Common App with Maya. So if you missed that or you were confused in any way by how to do that, please reach out to your counselor. It'll take 5 seconds. We'll make sure you're linked up. That's really important for us to be able to send your documents. You're also going to invite your teachers on Maya if you have not done so already, as Dr. Levy mentioned earlier. And on the Common App, you can invite your counselor as your advisor, as we reviewed in the workshops today and yesterday. So again, if you missed that, reach out to your counselor. We can easily set that up. Make sure you're on the Google Classroom. I'm sure 99% of you are. We've had this Google Classroom since you were in 9th grade, I believe, but there's the code. Repost it again. We post a lot of updates about college events. I posted something, I believe, over the summer about free SUNY application week. So really important scholarship opportunities we'll post. So make sure you're checking Google Classroom. We're only going to post if it's really important or relevant. We know you get a lot of notifications from Google Classroom, so we're very sparing with our notifications, and it's usually important if we're reaching out to you. Please let your counselor know about early decision or early action or restrictive early action by the deadlines from the last slide. Make sure you talk to your counselor. We're here to help you through this process. And lastly, please make sure you're signing up on Maya for college visits at Bronxville. So with that, I'll leave Mr. Kind to close things up.
Thanks, Deanna. And thank you to all the other counselors and Lauren and Ray as well. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. I should have started with this, but the Q&A box is open. So if there's any questions that you want to ask, please do so now. I did want to share, and this is more for the students, but parents to be mindful of. There's a lot of moving pieces to this process. There's a lot of emails your student or students are going to receive. Some of it is quite vital. For instance, if you apply to a college and indicate you want to have an interview and they email you, hey, let's set up an interview, and your child misses that email, it's not great. I think we could all admit that that's not great. To set up their Common App accounts, I would say 99% of the students use their school email. If they don't want to do that, that's totally fine. You just need to make sure you are checking your email. Upon completing and submitting an application, students will get a portal access to each individual college's portal. So if you apply to 5 schools, you're going to have 5 different portals to go onto. That is how you're going to check that everything's been received. That's where you're going to check to see if you've been accepted or not. You also want to be logging into those systems to make sure that the colleges are receiving everything. Everything gets sent electronically. 99.9% of the time, it's not a problem, but sometimes things happen. Colleges are receiving a lot of documents and information, making files for students. Things don't get coded properly on the back end. It's not a big deal. We can rectify the situation quickly, but we need to know about it. They don't contact us, they contact the students. So just, within the household, figure out if how you want to handle that. Because it could become a lot, especially when you pile on, X amount of classes that you're taking and varsity sports and taking care of siblings and all of the above that the students have going on in their lives. It could become a lot. I'm just going to go to the chat real quick just to see what's come in. Yeah, so we did cover a little bit. I think we did cover a little bit about the brag sheets. So both the students and the parents have a brag sheet. We asked both of you, students and parents, to try to get that done during junior year. If it's not, that's totally fine. I will send back out the parent brag sheet attached to the email, hopefully tomorrow, but if not the next day, that has a recording of this video for you to fill out. Those documents or those responses help your child's counselor craft their recommendation letter. The students should be pretty much done at this point because we gave them, I would say, ample time during the workshops to work on that. If they're not, in terms of a deadline, soon would be great. In the next week or two would be the latest. You know, amongst the counselors, we're all working on our recommendation letters, you know, dating back to August and continuing now throughout September. So we need that information soon. So that would, you know, next 2 weeks would be ideal. The visits are very much informational. They are the reps that are, they're often the reps that are reading our applications. So it's an opportunity for both the rep to put a name to the face and the student to also put sort of like a name to sort of who's representing the college. The representatives often it's, you know, 30, 45 minutes. They're in the fireplace room. All the visits are in the fireplace room. And it's just an opportunity for the rep to share about the college and for the students to ask questions about the institution that the rep can answer. You know, this isn't, you know, what's the average GPA that's been accepted? Like those things you can find online, but you know, if students are interested about the prospect of double majoring or majoring across different colleges at any particular institution, like sort of like asking questions that you can't find the answers to on you know, online. It's also a great opportunity to demonstrate interest for those colleges that are tracking demonstrated interest, which is probably not as many as it once was, particularly if the college has a selectivity or an acceptance rate below 20%, they're probably not tracking demonstrated interest. But there are plenty that are coming that are, you know, that the selectivity is greater than that. And so if you're applying to, I think RPI is coming tomorrow. If you're applying there, you should show up. Like it stands to reason you would make use of that time, and colleges, depending upon the school, will check to see, did you connect with the rep when they were at your school, right? Are you applying ED? Did we come to visit your high school? Did you attend that meeting? Can't attend them all, and sometimes you're going to have a test or you're not going to be able to miss class, and that's okay too. Just let us know. We'll let you know who came, their email address. You can reach out to them and just say like, wanted to let you know I saw you on campus. I had a calculus test. I couldn't make it. I look forward to applying. Like it doesn't have to be anything grand. It's just like an acknowledgement that I saw you. I didn't want you to think I was blowing you off.
So someone asked if students should send a thank you after the meeting. I would say why not, but also add like a question of some sort or follow up, like, oh, thank you so much for sharing about X, Y, and Z question that you asked about, so the rep can kind of remember. But I think it's great to connect with the representatives. In fact, one of my students, it wasn't an interview, but he happened to be the only student there, I believe, and he really made a good connection with the admissions counselor, and I believe that's partially why he got the scholarship, because he did such a great job and was really impressed. He really impressed the admissions rep. But yeah, I think it's a really great way to connect, because again, these are people that are reading our students' applications. So a thank you and a call back to the meeting, I think would be great. Can you repeat where parents see the college visits to Bronxville? That's on Maya Learning. So you have an account and your child, but your child is the only one who could sign up for the visit. So you might want to look at it tonight together. We have colleges coming as early as tomorrow. As Mr. Kine said, we have a lot of great colleges coming. So definitely check those out in advance.
Yeah, and I just put in the chat the link to the visit schedule that's sort of public, if you will, which is being updated almost daily. So colleges essentially sign up to visit. And so as they sign up, you know, we schedule a visit. And so that's like live as of today, but you know, I could wake up tomorrow and get a few more emails about schools wanting to come visit, and that calendar will update. Somebody asked about their Maya Learning account. I can't tell if it's a student or a parent, but the student's Maya Learning account is connected to your school email. So you can just use like the Google one-click sign-on function that they have on their site. Whereas parents, your account is tied to whichever email address is in our Infinite Campus system. So you would have needed to create a password. So you'll sign in using your, email that's in that system. If you can't get in or don't remember your password, reach out to your child's counselor. We're happy to help you. It's quite all right. I will also just add, the students, I sent out some information about the results from the class of 2024 over the summer. The students just continue to just do so well during the admissions process. It's a testament to the parents, to their hard work, to our school. It's so phenomenal. I have no reason to believe that is changing anytime soon. There's nothing to worry about on that front, despite what you might hear from neighbors or the New York Times. Like, our students continue to just knock it out of the park as it comes to outcomes. I'm happy to continue to give it a few more minutes in case any other questions come in. We will continue to share information with the parents, and obviously with students as it kind of comes across our desk. I will send out this recording along with links to a few of the sort of resources that we mentioned. We sent out, I also want to make a shout out to Alyssa, who helped us put together a nice little one-pager of some like monthly to-dos that we sent out towards the end of at the end of junior year, at the end of June. I'll make a link, share a link to that document as well, to just sort of give both students and parents a good sense of like monthly sort of checkpoints and to-dos as we move through senior year. We chose to do this online for the sort of ease of it, to be able to record it and share with those that maybe couldn't come to school. Also, with Thursday being back to school night, we didn't want to take up too many of your evenings in person here. But I say all this to say that you are welcome at any or all the meetings with your child's counselor to talk about their college list or their essay or whatever else is on your mind. We are here for you. Ellen mentioned some of the course scheduling changes that we've been fielding over the past, week or two. And while we understand that's part of the start of school, we very much look forward to students in our office and discussing the sort of nitty-gritty of, the success they've had over the summer, the joy that they're finding in the classroom, and helping them sort of craft a college list. So we look forward to seeing you all in person. I know for myself, as early as tomorrow morning, but very, very soon. So there's a question about test optional. Maya Learning does not like call out if a school is test optional. The College Kickstart software definitely does. And there's an aggregate list of those colleges that are still test optional on a website called Fair Test. That is like, I guess, a third-party not-for-profit that just organizes that information and advocates to keep college admissions test optional. So that has like a master list of what is still test optional.
I will just say, yeah, that just going like the most up-to-date information always and most accurate information is on the college website. So be sure to, if you're questioning it at all, be sure to go there.
Thank you. Absolutely. All right. Well, we appreciate everybody taking the time to join us. Everything will be shared out in the next 24 to 48 hours. We hope you were able to take something away from the message here tonight. We look forward to seeing you possibly as early as Thursday at back to school night. Looks like another question kind of came through. So there's a question about SAT, let's say ACT scores and colleges with an October 15th deadline and taking the test in October. It's probably going to be school dependent. You know, with the SAT, the turnaround time on scoring has become quite short given the digital nature of it. So it is, I would say, likely that the schools will accept those scores. However, I would check with each individual institution just to make sure that that is the case. To Alyssa's point, on that college's website, it should indicate whether or not they'll accept October standardized test scores. So I would just check with the school. All right, I'm gonna stop recording. Again, thank you all for joining us. For great